Welcome back. Well, former Prime Minister Tony Abbott is calling for shark culling to be reintroduced following a spate of attacks on the New South Wales coast.
More, we're joined by marine biologist Dr. Vanessa Pirotta. Doctor, good morning to you. Nice to see you this morning. It's been an awful few days, right? How have you received that news in light of these calls for a cull?
It has been a very troubling short period of time, and I make mention to the time period because shark interactions that are negative are very, unfortunately, a low incidence statistics, so the chances of it happening is quite low. But the fact that it's happened in such a short period of time means that, A, we're talking about it even more. It's making international news. There are people right now in hospital. It's a terrible situation, but it's also a time where we just need to just stop and take a breather to digest the information that we all need to be informed to think about this in the most appropriate way. And thinking about the words of culling, I mean, that's just probably, in my opinion, a misinformed comment. What we really need to be doing right now as Australia is using science to inform our decision-making and to learn more, because the world that we live in right now is changing, the marine environment is changing, and we've known for years through research done by New South Wales DPI, Department of Primary Industries, that bull sharks are present in Sydney Harbour at this time of year. That, to me, as a scientist, is not shocking. But we need to all be aware of this so that we can be more informed to make good decisions. And what's going on right now is a bit of a mixture of people providing comment but not necessarily listening to the science and being mindful that there are people who have had negative shark interactions at this time that will also be impacted in ways that we wouldn't think possible. So there is bringing awareness to Bite Club as well for people who need that support at this time.
This does come at a time, though, of course, when, you know, in the past few months we've been talking about shark nets around New South Wales and whether or not they need to be taken away. There are all kinds of sort of trials happening at the moment. Obviously, the weather in the past few days has been very difficult in terms of actually navigating through the water. It's been murky. We all know that. But the trouble is when you've got people, a 12-year-old boy in hospital right now on life support, and then you go, there's a shark out there who did that to him, I think most people would be in favour of perhaps erring on the side of caution.
And absolutely. As a mum as well, hearing that, it's an awful thing, and we are very mindful that that has gone on. What we need to do now, going forward, is maybe rethink how we send messaging. So today you're probably going to check the UV index, or going to the beach, you go between the flags. Perhaps we need to have some sort of environmental communication around that going forward, given that we've had such a tight cluster around similar environmental conditions, similar geographic region, which is around Sydney. So these are all indicators that provide us with more indication as to why this may have happened.
I think that's all fine. And you know, I said to you in the break that I think people are much more mindful of it not being our ocean and all that. But the reality is, if you've got an aggressive creature on Earth, generally speaking, they'll be removed. And so where can we actually get in there and get rid of these sharks, in your opinion?
So, Carl, you used the word aggressive. I'm just making sure we calm the narrative around sharks right now, because aggressive nature for bull sharks, and I'm not defending bull sharks, I'm just purely referring to the science. I'm not a bull shark scientist, that's for New South Wales DPI to be. But we need to be mindful that we need more education around this with regards to, we had environmental conditions on the weekend that were favourable for fish productivity, and you have an overlap of humans at the same time of being summertime and one of the busiest harbour cities on Earth where people are likely to interact with the wild environment.
So you don't support a cull in any way, shape or form?
I personally, as a marine scientist, do not support a cull. What I do support is investment into scientific research to help us as Australians make informed decision-making. That's important.
When do numbers get
They're not endangered or anything in Australia.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have good numbers on, saying that there's 20 bull sharks here. We don't know. These animals move around like us. And so maybe what you're calling for right now is for us to take that deeper dive into understanding as a community. That's why I run Wild Sydney Harbour, but as a nation as well, so that maybe when we do beach safety, we have shark safety as well in schools. So perhaps calling on our federal parties as well right now to be thinking about how we inform Australians to make good decisions alongside, it's really important, alongside the science. So we remove some of these words like aggression, and what's happened is absolutely horrific, and It's awful. I don't ever want to see that happen again.
Yeah.
But the reality is we are coexisting with creatures that occupy similar environments.
Something needs to change either way, but yes. Thanks so much for your insight, Vanessa. Really appreciate it.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
It was straight ahead live to Adelaide.